Good morning, Nerd Fighters. It's Saturday. I'm quickly approaching the end of my 20s. In about 6 months, I will officially head into the third decade of my life, and it has caused me to do a lot of reflecting. Objectively, changing the first digit in your age shouldn't be that big of a deal. I mean, in reality, there's only a day's difference between 29 and 30. But for some reason, it just feels like a huge milestone. In looking back, though, it is really easy for me to see all of my failures I've experienced along the way. I can readily point out to myself that I'm not where I should be, and use where most of my peers are as proof. This all starts me down a destructive path of hating myself for not living up to my own expectations for what my life was supposed to be. However, these thoughts don't acknowledge how much I had to fight to get to where I am today. They don't give credit to the fact that had my plans gone accordingly at one point in my life, I would not be here today. I obviously cannot change what has already happened, but I think sharing your past with others can be important. My outlook is that while I can't change what's happened in my life already, by sharing my experience with others, I might be able to make a difference in their life. If what I've been through is able to help at least one person, then maybe this will all have been worth the pain. If anyone were to look at my path through my 20s, they could easily assume that I did things wrong. It would be easy to look at just the outline of college, failed or dropped out of every class my first semester, on academic suspension twice for low grades and completion rates. It took me 7 years to get a 2-year degree, and not until 10 years post-high school graduation did I actually get my bachelor's of science. Didn't move out of my parents' house until I was 22, only to have to move back in at 25 because I got fired from a job and was on the brink of losing a second one. There were good reasons for these things happening, though. I've struggled with depression for a long time. I'm a suicide survivor of over 14 years now, but I had never gotten it treated. I also had an undiagnosed learning disability. Once I started taking care of those two things, I started doing better. I also took longer to figure out what I was interested in. I changed my mind at least 6 or 7 times throughout my undergrad years. Yes, it took me longer to move out, but I could not have afforded it before, and with my untreated depression at the time, it likely would not have gone well even if I had the ability to afford living on my own. Along a similar vein, the reason I was not doing well with my job was because I wasn't taking care of my mental health. I was working 3 jobs and doing full-time school. A stressful situation for anyone, let alone someone who had stopped taking their antidepressants. Yes, it took me 10 years to accomplish what takes most people 4. And yes, I started my college career off with a 0.0 GPA. However, when I graduated with my bachelor's of science, I graduated summa cum laude. I completed my honors program, and I ended with a 3.87 GPA. Yes, I had failures. But after each of those failures, I got back up and I fought back. Sure, I made the same mistake a few times, but each time I learned something new, and each time was better than the last. Had I done everything by the book, so to say, I never would have met my best friend, and she in turn would have never met her fiancé. I also would have likely not discovered my love for spreadsheets and data analytics. That's the thing, though. There is no book on how to do life right. Every person is going to have a different journey, and just because 2 people are at a different stage in life doesn't mean one is doing things better than the other. It's okay to take longer to figure things out, as long as you just keep on trying. Life is going to throw everyone curveballs, but unlike baseball, life doesn't have a strict 3 strikes and you're out policy. Just keep swinging, and eventually you're going to get a hit. We'll see what my 30s bring. I'm sure there will be more failures to come, but as I did in my 20s, I'm just going to keep getting back up after I fall, and eventually I'll figure out the right path for me. Stay awesome, Nerd Fighters. And Mr. Apple, or as my brain likes to call you, Herr Apfel, I'll see you tomorrow. DFTBA.